Hey folks, it's Moxley here and welcome to another TEW2020 video. You join us for our final pay-per-view before All Out, which is of course AEW Fight for the Fallen. We can compare to last year's event where we got a 78 rating and an attendance of 31,000. I'm hoping we can smash both of that out of the park. Main event last year was a triple threat match for the championship. We saw Jon Moxley defend against Mr. Brodie Lee and Shawn Spears to a 77, and we also had the Young Bucks take on the team of Chris Jericho and Cash Wheeler. So lots of changes to the roster since then, with even more to come tonight. So I'm looking forward to it. It's been a good build towards it. It's a stacked card, and this is even with me holding off to make the card for All Out even more stacked. So I hope you enjoy it. It's a good show. Hopefully it delivers in terms of rating and attendance, and we can kick on going forward. So without further ado, let's crack on to AEW Fight for the Fallen. So just before we get into it, I did a wee amendment in terms of the boosts. So we will have a decent celebrity here, and we'll have a 250 grand set and a small live musical performance. Just anything to give us a wee bit of a safety net to make sure we get a top draw show. I think when we get to All Out, we'll just max out everything we can, spend as much money as we can to make sure we get the best show possible. So we're in Colorado Springs, Colorado, at the Falcon Stadium. 46,692 in attendance, and just the one pre-show matchup, I believe, and that is just to get guys on the card that frankly nothing for them at the moment, but they will have something at All Out. And it was a decent pre-show match, and it saw the Best Friends, Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta and Orange Cassidy, and they defeated the Inner Circle's Santana and Ortiz and Sammy Guevara in 12:55 when Orange Cassidy rolled up Santana. Sammy Guevara was head and shoulders above the rest, so he was obviously protected in the fact that he had the big victory obviously at the last event, and he's obviously got dispatched to Chris Jericho. It's really just keeping him in the low before something big at All Out. But a 73, very happy with that. Sammy with 88 performance is incredible, and he's only going to get stronger and stronger. But we need to keep, as I say, some baby faces strong. I don't think I've booked any of Best Friends really well at all, so Orange might be someone we'll put a bit of faith in going forward. Started the show then, and that's always good when you get a 100 on your best promo. So here it's just basically accounting for our main event. It's going to be another matchup that will see Moxley and Omega team up against Brodie Lee and Darby Allin. Obviously, Kenny's tried to put faith in so many people, you know what I mean, Cody could trust but Moxley couldn't, but Moxley's like, no, I'm fine, I'm mentally in a better position. Even though I was beat down a couple of weeks ago, I feel like, you know, we'll find out who that is, but I just want to focus and get a win here, getting the Dark Order out of my system, and then moving on. But he'll be fine. He's just continually insistent that he's just got it all out his mind, and he's focusing on just hurting Brodie Lee and Darby Allin. But Dark Order's been strong. Obviously they've lost Alex Reynolds, but as I say, Brodie Lee and Darby Allin have done well together. John Silver is obviously establishing now as a singles act, and Evil and Stu Grayson will be challenging the Young Bucks for the AEW tag titles as well. But delighted with that 100 rated segment, and we didn't get the announcer in. They'll make their debut on Dynamite next week, but we'll confirm who that is after the show. I think it's a wee bit obvious who we've brought in. Cody starts the show then with an elaborate entrance just to get the crowd roaring. No pyro or anything, just the usual big video. Obviously it's the Trios Championship on the line as Cody teams up with Scorpio Sky and QT Marshall to take on the Jurassic Express. It's a good entrance there from Cody to get the crowd going. And Mick Foley. We basically cut backstage to Mick Foley. I don't know why I've done this. I've probably I do this late at night, so I'm hoping if I died here, Cody's in the ring, and then Mick Foley's basically like, alright, I didn't think you were going to be here, but yeah, it's interesting that you are here. So it sounds like a confusing storyline, but once that actually happens, you'll understand why we've had this angle. So Foley's basically on his phone during the intermission of that entrance of Cody, and he says, okay, you can come here if you want, we don't have you booked tonight, but yeah, let's see what we can make happen on tonight's episode, or sorry, tonight's pay-per-view. So it makes it sound so confusing, but it will all come full circle and you'll understand once we get to it. So that's 72 there. The match itself then does take place with the entrances, of course, for the rest of Cody's team and the Jurassic Express. It was a poor matchup and it saw the Jurassic Express pick up the win, defeating Cody, QT and Scorpio Sky in 14:43 when Jungle Boy pinned QT Marshall. So it means that Marco Stunt and the Jurassic Express, the trio of them, make the fourth defence of the Trios title. Cody's head and shoulders above everyone else, as you would expect. Yeah, just a wee bit of iffiness there from QT, off his game as well, so he's not really had the greatest time here. But a 69 is still a pretty good opener, considering the overness of everybody in this apart from Cody. I feel like it's something that could benefit the likes of the Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt as well. We then had the TNT Championship on the line. We gave John Silver an opportunity, but he lost in an abysmal matchup as Castagnoli dispatched him with a very European uppercut. This was the 11th defence of the TNT Championship for Castagnoli, so obviously Silver's got a long way to go in terms of overness. I'd mostly used him as an enhancement talent, because at the time I was booking it he was losing all the time. But Johnny Hungy will get his push down the line and made this an open matchup, but also a wild brawl. Then had the AEW Women's Tag Titles on the line, and this was an abysmal matchup that saw the team of Ali and Penelope Ford defeat Chris Statlander and Kylie Ray in 10:14 when Penelope Ford pinned Kylie Ray. It was the first defence of the Women's Tag Titles for them. I just feel like it's good exposure for Statlander and Ray, and Statlander I want to protect, so obviously Kylie needs to take the defeat here, but it's too early to take the belts off Ali and Penelope, so the Blantarage remain your tag team champions. That was a 47. Then had that tag match for the tag team championships. It was about that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, and the Young Bucks defeated the Dark Order in 14:12 when Nick pinned Evil Uno with the Meltzer driver, giving the Young Bucks the third defence of the AEW tag team championships. The match deserved better announcing. The segment itself was a 75, so that's not bad considering the overness of Grayson and Uno, and it was our Steal the Show matchup, but really happy with that. As I say, it's try to give as many tag teams the opportunity as possible to be level with the Young Bucks. And after the matchup, just a celebratory angle for the Young Bucks, so Nick and Matt celebrate, crowd goes wild, and that was an 81. Then had the matchup for the AEW Women's title, and it was about that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling, as we had Shayna Bazsler defeat Toni Storm in 14:57 with a Kimura, giving Shayna the fourth defence of the Women's Championship. So a 66, can anyone defeat Shayna Bazsler? She just seems to be unstoppable. So much to the length that she decides to beat down Toni Storm after the matchup. But who comes down to make the save? We have the debuting Kairi Hojo. We've managed to steal her from WWE. Absolutely looking forward to booking Kairi, and a 47 there. Our fan favourite gimmick was awful. Shayna was good here. I think the segment maybe went a minute too long. Sort of penalised it, but I know it's mostly WWE talents that they have stole to make our women's division better, but I feel like once we get a proper mingling of them and the AEW talents, it can only bring them all forward to make a very stacked women's division. And to be fair, I will say WWE, especially NXT, is probably one of the best women's divisions in the world. How they're utilised, well, I think we can say with any WWE thing. Maybe not the best, but in terms of actual natural talent, there are so many good workers in NXT. AJ cuts a promo then. He says, alright, we'll see who Mick Foley has brought as his opponent. It's obviously not the person he spoke about earlier on, but he's intrigued to see who it is, but just wants to keep proving that he is the best in the world. And that was an 82. So Mick Foley announces it, introduces the man who will be facing AJ Styles, and we have also stolen from WWE because we are in a proper war now, Matt Riddle. So Matt Riddle is now with All Elite Wrestling, and that was a 66 rated segment, and Mick Foley came across well. So AJ versus Riddle. delivers a 74. As my phone goes off there. A decent matchup. Matt Riddle defeats AJ Styles in 17:54 by stoppage when AJ could not continue. So Riddle's just completely knocked him out. 69 performance for Riddle, 74 for AJ with a physical decline. And Matt Riddle also has debuted his legitimate athlete gimmick. Initial rating of great. So a few negatives there. The announce team's low experience and the physical ability of AJ. So we utilise AJ as well as we can before that just declines horribly. Then have Pac in the ring. He just talks about this matchup coming up with Hangman Page at All Out, and he says obviously he's still pissed off at so many people, but he says it's time for him to take opportunities. He wants his opportunity at the World Championship and he wants to just destroy Hangman. He says Hangman's been lucky, he's been one man that keeps constantly avoiding him, but when it comes to All Out he won't be so lucky, and Pac will leave as the AEW World Champion. So very solid 89 promo there from the Geordie. We find out that the surprise person that appeared was Will Ospreay, so that was a 72. So I don't know if us changing size meant we took President over New Japan, so we get first option on him, but obviously wasn't expected to be here. The availability had New Japan going first, so the fact we've got him, and obviously we're a bigger company now, hopefully means now that he's going to be our priority. We can't sign him in a written exclusive because he's loyal to New Japan, but if we keep him in here, we're really going to have some good matches with Will Ospreay. So we may as well hint towards one, because he's just arrived and he's taken out by Sammy Guevara, Santana and Ortiz. 3-on-1 assault by the Inner Circle. Hager's nowhere in sight, and yeah, if all goes to plan, Sammy Guevara versus Will Ospreay at All Out, I think that could be absolutely incredible. So an 82 there, and we'll have more on that once we get back to Dynamite. Preparing for our main event then, Moxley gets an 87. He just says he's had so many problems with Darby Allin, with Brodie Lee, but he just wants to make sure that this is the time he gets rid of them. He's over the injury to MJF, and he says he thinks it's definitely Brodie Lee that's attacked him, and he's just going to make sure he gets his revenge here. So that was a 87. Hopefully the main event can deliver so we can get a really high rating. Oh, and I think that match has been done because of the announce team. So that's worrying, because everybody's in-ring's good. So now you know why I want to make the change to it. But it was about the Head Superb Wrestling in great heat as Brodie Lee and Darby Allin defeated Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega in 23:52 when Darby Allin pinned Jon Moxley with a coffin drop thanks to an interference from the returning MJF. So 74 is poor, but 83, 95, 87, 83 in terms of in-ring. Then we did have to protect Moxley, if I'm right in saying. Even at that, it shouldn't take too much of a hit to the rating of the matchups. I think the announcing has damaged it completely. A few inconsistencies, and yeah, so I think the announce team's mostly killed that in the main event. But we should hopefully still have a strong show, thanks to the boosts and so good job I added them. And of course the opening promo. And we finished the show with Jon Moxley getting beaten down by MJF and Wardlow. So 79. Obviously that storyline's going to continue. I think you'll have a reason. It'll be more explained on Dynamite of why we've done certain things. And overall, he'll stand tall. 85. Increase their popularity in 56 regions, so it cannot be underestimated how pivotal the opening self-promo angle is, and of course the boosts of basically having a good set and having celebrities. So you pay a bit, but you certainly make sure you don't lose any pop. At the end of the day, it's paying a bit of money to gain a lot of money, but happy with that. A lot of good angles, and the card looked solid, and I think the roster's starting to look really, really strong. So I wanted to get like a lot of people that are really over, maybe if they're from different companies, but at the end of the day we'll start integrating them with the AEW talent, so then they can all grow together. So like, fair enough, it is quite WWE dominated at the moment, but then eventually you can bring in all your your people that have maybe not had as much of a chance, maybe like a private party, they'll start to get a proper push down the line. But the show, feedback was awesome, it's getting fantastic reviews. We're also trying to get Peyton Royce. Now, I thought to myself, do I really want to get her? But it opens up that angle of doing something with her and Sean Spears. So again, that was just like, yeah, we'll look to do that one. So we'll try and recruit her. Hiroshida will get a new contract too. 757,000 viewers and a buy rate of 1.35. So at the moment, financially, we are down a little bit. That is because of one, we paid a good bit for the show, not quite as much as Double or Nothing, but still a bit. And because we also applied a lot to our media. Now, our media was basically, if I can just quickly find it, where are we with our investments? So AEW Live was just basically to expand places that we didn't showcase Dynamite. So AEW Live is basically the place where we have a lot of kind of stuff. There you go, you can see who we're signed as well. Oh, there's another debutant. Another one with pinch from WWE. But yeah, basically that was the whole part of AEW Live, was just to get coverage of everything to expand, because obviously we're now in a position where we're fine in the large aspect, and it is just a case of getting to Titanic. All that's going to take a lot of time, so we just need to wait till we get obviously the financial muscle to expand each of those particular areas, and then we'll go from there. Although I think if we start making good money, we can start ploughing a lot more into that. So just confirm enemies, I'll just confirm what you can see here, so it's pretty much given away. Killer Cross is in, that's great, absolutely delighted to get him on board. That's another good upper mid card talent that we could possibly push to the main event. We know about Mia Yim, we'll obviously change her gimmick, but she'll be coming in. The announcer's going to be Mauro Ranallo, so I'm hoping to go, I believe it's going to be Toni Schiavone. I'll get his name right at one point, I can never pronounce it. So it'll be Toni, Taz and Mauro going forward, so that's the plan. And eventually when I can fit him in, we'll have Bandido in as well. That was someone that we were able to recruit, and it's just a case of finding the best thing for him. So lots of things happening. As I say, if you want realism here, that is gone out the window, but we are making sure that eventually that we can have the few of a lot of my saves, just a lot of wars. But as I say, I think it's going to breathe a new bit of life, because obviously I felt like WWE was just kind of like managing Man United. Once you fix it, it's kind of stale. But the whole challenge that I'm doing here, the challenge was about Impact, and then I've been doing a fun save with WCW back in 1995 again, just trying something different instead of, as I say, always being the top company. And the lot shorter shows are so much more quicker. I can fly through stuff. I was booking like easily 6 weeks to 2 months a day when I was doing WCW, so it really re-energised my passion for this game, so that's good, and hopefully I can carry on. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. We will now begin the road to All Out. 5 weeks. In fact, not even 5 weeks, because when I process this day, that'll take us into August, so 4 weeks, and then we'll be there. So cheers for watching, and hopefully I'll see you for the next episode, or the double episode, of AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. Take it easy, stay safe, bye bye.